Welcome back to another episode in the NFL Rejects franchise, the franchise where we take a bunch of regular season free agents age 30 or older, leftovers, rejects from the other NFL teams, build a team, and then push as far as we can, and we pushed very, very far with this group of players. We pushed all the way to the Super Bowl. We managed to beat the Cowboys there after beating the Bengals, the Bills, and the Colts on the way in the playoffs. This will be an episode that has a different format for those that are joining an off-season episode in this franchise series for the first time. Usually it's more gameplay centered. This is the only episode where I really do dive into the menus, basically, because this is the episode where we build a new team. It's the last time that you will see the rejects be called the Golden Eagles, which I think is a fitting name, right? We're going to be taking a look at yearly awards, just to get an idea if anybody here got a mention, but of course they didn't. Coach of the Year, anybody in here? Nope. Even after winning a freaking Super Bowl, man, couldn't break into that part of the stats. Anyways, let's take a look at this one here. We've got the Offensive Player of the Year. There is nobody in here. Defensive Player of the Year. There is nobody in here from our team. Rookies are not interesting for us. Russell Wilson managed to break into the top 10 in the AFC, which at least is something. This is only ranked by the yards and all that, completions. I personally think they should also include things like, won trophies. How can Russell Wilson be lower rated than Josh Allen, who didn't really break that far into the playoffs, didn't win a title? Anyways, looking at the running backs, looking at the wide receivers, I can see Michael Gallup here. Just going to be moving through this rather swiftly. I don't want to delve too long on this because I'm rather excited and taking a look at what the next team will look like, which players are going to be available for us to shape the next team. I've already got an idea which team I will choose. The method here is we're going to be moving through the weeks step by step, shaping the first team in the preseason when the first rejects are available for us, basically. And then after that, we're going to be finalizing the team in the first week of regular season, prepping a team for another season run and a new set of rejects. Retirements are a big part of this franchise because they basically reduce the pool of players that we can pick our team from. So all of these dudes have left the game, have left the NFL, and are not available to pick anymore. So as you can see, Odell Beckham Jr. retires, DeAndre Hopkins retires, Tyler Boyd, that's 3 wide receivers gone immediately. Stepping out with a ring on a high, Jordan Poyer, Brandon Scherf, Cody Whitehair, Tyler Lockett, wide receiver number 1, Derrick Henry leaves, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, that's actually a pretty cool one, stepping away from the game after having won a second Super Bowl win, a ring in his career. That's actually pretty cool. All the other players down there are going to be sadly missed because they won't be available for us. Davante Adams is out, Ryan Jensen, Andy Van Ginkel, David Bakhtiari, Taylor Decker, Ryan Kelly, Joel Bitonio, Dalvin Cook, Travis Kelce. No, wouldn't like to have him on my team just once. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, James Conner also retires. That's actually a little bit sad. Morgan Moses was on the team for a short while. Matt Ioannidis was a reject. Halapoulivaati Vaitai, Randy Gregory, Tyquan Lewis, John Feliciano, Michael Thomas, Andrew Wiley. Yeah, some names here that were part of previous rejects seasons. But yeah, some of these dudes, I'm really bummed that they retire and that we can't pick him, can't bring him in. Just imagine an offense consisting of Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, Travis Kelce, having Dalvin Cook as my running back. Oh, that would be awesome. Offensive line players, David Bakhtiari, Taylor Decker, Ryan Kelly, Joel Bitonio. That would be really awesome. But yeah, not to mention Davante Adams to throw to. Yeesh, man. Well, that's retirements. That's the Rejects franchise. A lot of players gone. And just to show you this here, they've stepped away from the game. We are down to a 47 player count out of the 75 player roster. So there's that. We do have the season recap here, which is now available. Salt Lake City Golden Eagles, two-time Super Bowl champion, which is nice. Quarterback Russell Wilson was the MVP. Fully deserved. Don't know how the NFL MVP can be Josh Allen and Zach Taylor being the coach here, but whatever. We're going to leave it as it is, and we're going to be moving on to the next week now, which is the player renegotiation week. Another staple here of this franchise series are the contracts. Everybody's on a one-year deal basically, which just gives me a certain amount of flexibility, but it also means that everybody's up for negotiation, as you can see. And we will certainly not be entering contract negotiations with anybody right now. Some of these players, I'm happy actually that they stay around in the league. Some are still quite viable, I would say. Looking at some of the overalls, everybody that's around a 75 is actually pretty decent to think about for the future. As you can see, the regression is in full effect. I've set it up to 200, so you can see everybody went down. I do hope that we will get new players available, because if we had to work with the same ones, it would be very, very hard. We're down to 73 median right now. With these players here, I think that's a realistic depiction of the quality that's on display here. Still some very good names in here, players that are still viable. Rasul Douglas, Desmond King, just to name two, still look viable. Avonte Maddox and Dante Jackson, ooh, maybe not so much. We still have the buffs going on in full effect, the buffs that are coming from the staff, of course. But still, this is the time of year where we just take a look at those players that are up for re-signing. We will not re-sign anybody, and you're going to see the effect next week. Let's take a look at the free agents that have been signed during the free agency period. Quick showing off here. Of course, I didn't sign anybody here. Nobody is signed into the reject in this period, because they wouldn't be a reject, right? I'm just going to be clicking through pretty quickly here. You can see all the free agents that were signed. A few over the age of 30, which are the ones that really hurt me. Everybody below that actually is not a big deal. But those above 30, those are my dudes. Those are the players that I would be able to pick. So, yeah, we're going to be taking a look at who's available, of course, in a moment. But you can see the dudes that were signed in the regular free agency here, of course. Obviously, we're not allowed to draft in this franchise series, and here I'm just showing you that I'm following my own rules. Of course, I am. We didn't draft a single player in all of the rounds. Just going to be taking a quick look at the draft results. For those of you that are interested, here are the top players that were picked. You can see a few interesting picks here. Dylan Raiola out of Georgia going to the Bears. KJ Bolden, now a Commander. Ellis Robinson, DJ Lagway, and so on and so forth. I'll be clicking down just ever so slowly so that you can take a look here. Maybe find the player you're interested in, find the player you're looking for, find out where he went, pause it to take a look at the stats if you want to do that. Of course, drafting is not a part of this franchise series, and that is the reason why, yeah, there's just not much more to be seen here. But this is the last week before we enter preseason. Next exciting step, let's relocate the team. How to do that? Just enter the manage team option, go to relocate. Has to be in preseason. We're going to stick around in Salt Lake City. Why ever not? That's just our home base. And then we've got all of these teams here to pick from. Just going to be clicking through them ever so slowly. We already were the Desperados once in the first season. Let me just go back quickly. We were the Bisons in our second season. It's actually a pretty fun uniform right there. Moving forward, Dragons, Dreadnoughts, Elks, Huskies. There's so many fun uniforms, like this one here, for instance, with the Lumberjack, the plaid shirt in the back side of the helmet there. But, you know, do I really feel like it? And I'd like to have the name that kind of says something about the team here, right? We were the Shamrocks when we needed luck. and we won the Super Bowl in that season. So that was, of course, very lucky. We've got the Snowhawks, Steamers, Thunderbirds, the Tigers, Voyagers, Wizards, Antlers, and so on. And of course, the Golden Eagles, that's who we are right now. We picked that because why? Well, we beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, first off. And second off, we were the Golden Eagles. We're not just the Eagles, we're the Golden Eagles because we won that thing. And now, I think the Thunderbirds is actually a pretty fitting name. A bird so powerful a single flap of its wings creates thunder that Thunderbirds are a force of nature. I think we should embrace this. Plus, I want to have a different uniform this time around. We had green in the past 2 seasons. Let's go for a red and white and a little bit of orange right there. There's a lot of blue uniforms also in here. I kind of not really like those that much. The Voyagers, of course, would be fitting as well. The Wizards, but I really don't know what they did with the helmet there. So you can talk endlessly about all of these uniform options. Gonna be going with the Thunderbirds. Really like this one a lot. So, what stadium are we gonna pick? There's a traditional stadiums, sphere stadiums, hybrid, and so on and so forth. I'm going to be picking a closed arena. I'm going to be picking the Sphere Stadium here. Why? Well, I just like it. Plus, it's closed. It makes the kicking easier. And it's going to be Thunderbirds Field. Not the most creative name, but there you go. We've also got 55 players on the roster right now. We have built a first draft of the team. We don't really have that much to do. I will just be reducing this down to size now. Here's a few names here and there. I will be going through this at the end of the episode, of course. Just a small sneak peek here. Let me cut it down 2 players so we can progress into the first week of regular season. New players will be available then because teams will be thinning out their preseason rosters very hard. We usually get a lot of good players right then and there. So with that said, guys, gonna say let's move ahead to the first week of regular season. Week 1, and it's time to meet the team. Let's go through it in a little bit more detail here. We're looking at the quarterbacks. Leading quarterback, at least the starter named for this season, is Baker Mayfield. 3275, a veteran player, a very experienced player. I do hope that he can pull off a really, really great comeback story here after enduring quite a few letdowns in his career. He was a part of the Minnesota Vikings in the last few seasons, but didn't really get a lot of play time. As you can see, he was nothing more than a backup. Tampa Bay, we know that season, Rams a little bit, and the Cleveland Browns before they completely dumped him. So this is actually a nice arc here, redemption arc. We also have Geno Smith and Skylar Thompson. A little bit surprising that he's that old, but whatever. I'm actually pretty happy with this quarterback room. I'll be focusing on Baker Mayfield, just feel the best about him, but we also have a second quarterback with NFL experience in here. The halfbacks, pretty happy about this one here. Austin Eckler to lead the charge here. He's not the biggest dude, but I do hope that he can pull off what the running backs did before him. I brought back Mixon, Jones, and David Montgomery. Miles Sanders was available as well, but I didn't keep him in the final roster. I did cut him. I've also got 4 running backs in here because we just tend to have injuries on that position. Fullback Reggie Gilliam, 30 and 79. Pretty happy about this one. Very highly rated fullback here. Wide receiver Paris Campbell, 30 and 79. Michael Gallup comes back for another year. That's awesome. KJ Osborne, 30 and 78. Hunter Renfrow, 31 78. And Darius Slayton, 30 and 77. The other wide receivers weren't that viable anymore, but I actually don't feel too bad about this, especially seeing how fast Paris Campbell is. 92, 91, and 90. So this should really help us push forward very, very quickly on those routes. Speaking of routes, I've got 4 tight ends. Same thing, same reasoning. Injuries do tend to happen here. We've got big names in here: Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry, and Mike Gesicki. But to be honest, I'm most excited about Alan Lazard. He is back again. I do hope regression hasn't hit him too hard, but he is looking pretty good still. And I'm actually very happy that he's back. I do hope that he can reprise his role from last season. He was very important, but you know, having big names like Henry and Mike Gesicki in there as well, that'll just help us, even if they're only going to be blocking a lot. So, who's going to be the starter? Haven't made up my mind. I think I'm going to lean towards Alan Lazard, but everybody here is viable. Left tackle Trent Brown, 34 and 84, and Jake Matthews with a 77 rating, 35 years of age. This is a super solid setup. Very happy with this one. On guard, we've got DJ Humphries, who I did move over from the left tackle. Now he's at left guard. 33 at 79. David Edwards, 77 rated. That's pretty cool as well. At center, this is a bit of a weaker position. There weren't a lot of players available here. Sam Mustafer is going to be the leading center, and Ted Karras is going to be the backup center. Both are decent and solid, so there's nothing to say about them. But compared to the other players on the offensive line, they're just a little bit weaker. We might tinker with that a little bit, but this certainly is a position that is not worrying, but it's the one that we need to watch out for. Right guard, Cody Ford, 30 and 76. Phil Haynes as a backup here. Very happy with this setup. Very balanced, plus both have very high strength, 91 and 91, so that is really good. Right tackle, Caleb McGarry gets the starting spot here ahead of Lael Collins. Why? He just has slightly higher awareness. But both are valuable. Both have the same overalls. I'm just going to be seeing how I feel. Caleb McGarry also a little bit taller, a little bit more weighty. So yeah, let's just go that route. Let's see how that turns out. Looking at defense, pretty excited about this one actually. Sam Hubbard, 32 and 76. Clelin Ferrell as a backup here. But both are really, really good. Very happy to have those on the left edge position. On right edge, we've got Harrison Phillips and Grady Jarrett. Awesome stuff. Very similar player types, very similar in the overalls. Pretty cool. Also high strength rating. That's important to break through the offensive lines. On D-tackle, I've decided to only take two players on. Bilal Nichols, 30 and 77, and PJ Hill, 31 and 76. Big names. In case of injury, there are other players available in the pool, so we'll just snap them and put these on the injured reserve if it really has to go that way. But we can always backfill from other positions on defense. Left outside linebacker. Here's where the quality starts. TJ Edwards, 31 and 80, and Bradley Chubb are my two freaking left outside linebackers. I did move him over from the right side, but this one here, absolutely stellar setup. Very, very excited about this one, especially taking into consideration Bradley Chubb, who has such a high strength and awareness rating. I think he's just going to be plowing through everybody. Mid linebackers, another beautiful group here. Assis Al-Shair, Cody Barton, Kaiser White, Foyesade Oluokun, and Sione Takitaki. Takitaki was an outside linebacker at first. I moved him to a mid linebacker. Again, we sometimes have injuries in this position as well. Not as crucial, but if they do happen, I want to have good players to step it up very quickly, benefiting from our training, benefiting from the buffs that are in effect already. Right outside linebacker, Matt freaking Milano joins. All right, let's fucking go, man. That is so awesome. He was such a pest playing against him on the Bills roster, and now he's on our team. The 19th best right outside linebacker, and he was unpicked. I don't really get this, but whatever. Lucky us. Harold Landry bringing up the rear here, 81 rated, another great player. On corner, we've got DJ Reed Jr., we've got Kenny Moore II, who just was available in the first week, Taron Johnson, 3183, Mike Hughes, and Sean Murphy Bunting. That's a range from 85 to 82. Fantastic stuff. I'm super happy with this cornerback room. I've got 5 in this season. Injuries do happen, and again, want to be able to backfill very quickly. Free safeties. Juan Thornhill comes back again, this time as a Thunderbird, but still as a reject. And Quadri Diggs is also in there. Awesome stuff. We played him last season. I think it was on the Cowboys. Let me just quickly check that one. But no, on the Seahawks. Now that's where it was. And yeah, just really happy about this setup. The strong safeties are actually free safeties that I just converted over here. Darnell Savage and John Johnson III, both fantastic dudes. Very happy to have them on board. The kicker, Jake Elliott, 32 and 85. That's a new face for us here, but he has that kick power 99 and the accuracy 94. That's going to be helpful. The punter, Logan Cook, he actually returns to the team, so that's awesome. We've got draft picks. We again got a load here for 2030. Going to be giving those away. and we will be cleaning out the practice squad completely. I don't want to see a single practice squad player on my freaking roster. But yeah, there we go. Apart from that, there's not a lot to be done in this episode. Want to wrap it up as well. I feel like the team that we have this season has, again, a very solid defensive setup. The offense, it'll depend on how that feels, how that works out. At the moment, we've got no star players, but I do feel very good about the offensive line this season. It's really solid. I'm also pretty happy at having a new face on the running backs. The wide receivers, we're going to see how that works. But again, I know how Michael Gallup works. That is nice. I know who's my go-to guy there. On defense, a lot of new faces. But looking at this is a very, very solid group of players. And I'm just really happy at some of the names that are in here, man. Freaking Harold Landry, Cody Barton, Aziz Al-Shayer, Matt Milano. Those linebackers, freaking fantastic. The front three, I've got Bilal Nichols. They've got Harrison Phillips, Grady Jarrett. That is really, really awesome. We're going to be shuffling a little bit here, looking at the depth charts. Of course, you can always tinker that a little bit. But yeah, there's not too much going to be happening here. The special teams are set. Partly, I haven't really figured out all the specialists yet. I will be deep diving into that off camera. The practice squad will be emptied, of course. There is nobody allowed on this team that's under the age of 30. But yeah, looking at the roster, we can see that there on the regular roster, everybody is at least 30. So there we go, guys. What do you think of this team? How far do you think we can go? Let me know what you think. Drop it down in the comments below. I'm super excited for a new season here. Yeah, if you like what I'm doing, do drop a like. Please subscribe. It means a lot to me. Helps the channel, as you know. As always, I'm so grateful for all of you being here. Each and every one. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Yeah, hope to see you next time. And until then, stay awesome, everybody.